Not counting the cost and saying, I'm going to give this regardless of how much it hurts me to do it. And sometimes it's not financial. I've talked a lot about money things, but perhaps it might be a social thing. It might be that there's someone who is the misfit at work. I work in an office with my brother-in-law most of the time. It's just me and him, so I'm not quite sure who's the misfit. He's not here, so I'll say him. But sometimes there are people that just, there's something about them that makes them difficult to be around or to relate to. And sometimes it's the will of God is that we sacrifice our social status and say, God, I'm going to go and befriend that person, even though everyone's probably going to go, what are you talking to them for? They got some screws loose. Which, hey, right, who doesn't? David in the Old Testament, he was the king of Israel, and I mean, he messed up big time, but it says of him that he was a man after God's heart. He once said, there's these guys, he had this team of elite soldiers, and he said, oh, I'm thirsty. And they ran, and they fought through the enemy lines to go to this well that was in the city that was his hometown sort of thing, and they got in this water and they brought it back to him, and he got it and he poured it out to God, which sounds bad, but he poured it out as an offering to God, so it was like he effectively put it in the offering basket. But he poured it out and he said to them, he said, I would not give to God that which costs me nothing. For me, that's how when I give, I think, does this hurt me? No? Okay, I'm going to try and give a bit more. Because I don't want to give to God that which costs me nothing. Jesus, when he saw the woman the widow put in her two coppers, but effectively that's what it was, putting the last £2 into the offering basket. He said she's given more than the people who give £1,000. Because she's given everything. She's given something that will cost her. I mean, for me, I want to be a man after God's heart. I think as a people, we want to be a people after God's heart, don't we? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So following the will of God, it means surrendering our wants. It means following regardless of the cost. And it means we don't discredit ourselves by saying that we aren't able. By saying, well, if God says to you, I want you to do this, and you say, man, I can't do that, look at me, I'm just a normal bloke. How can I organise this massive event, or how can I wash all of those cups after everyone's drunk out of them? By saying that we're not able to do that, what we're really saying is, God, you're not able to do that through me. That's what we're actually saying. So we need to be submitted to God's will. I'm not saying let's boast about things and say, yeah, I'm the greatest, I can do anything because God can do anything through me. That is true. I'm not saying we should be like all proud and boastful. We should be humble, and humility isn't a get-out clause. We need to be humble, but being humble doesn't mean we get to say, I can't do that, I'm not able. That's not what humility is. Humility is saying, God, you've told me to do this, and to me it's just nuts because there's no way I can do it, so you're going to have to help me big time because otherwise it's going to fall flat on its face. Humility is an excuse to not take risks or have faith. I think that some of the best things that God gives us to do are the things where God has to work. It's too much for me. The things that God has sort of said to me for my life and various things, sort of various times in my life, and I'm sure it's true for everyone, but I just use examples of myself so I don't offend anyone. They're too much. I can't do it. I'm not that good a person. I'm not that clever or that talented or that able. So God has to work in it. And for me, that's the best possible way. Because one, it means that I have to grow in my reliance on God and I have to grow in my faith in God, which means that then I can do even more amazing things through God can do more amazing things through me. And it means that God is the only one who can get the glory. God is the only one who can get the honour for the things that He will achieve through me. Because if I'm capable of doing it, then I can just go, oh, actually, yeah, that was mostly me. God sort of helped out a little bit with that healing, but it was me that really did it. And that's not how it should be. The rain sort of a while ago, probably the last time I preached, sort of maybe a couple of times back, but I was preparing and I was in the shower and I had this nasty taste in my mouth. It was rancid, it was horrible. And I was like, oh, what is that? It just randomly came from nowhere, and I think God sort of said that that's a word for someone. And then on the Sunday I said, I feel good not to say that there's someone who's got a funny taste in their tongue. And the rain said, oh, that's me. And I was like, thanks for having that. So I think, anyway. So Andy and I prayed for the rain, and she got healed. Her tongue was, after that, you said it was fine. And I had another word at the time, and I said, if it comes back, put some honey on a teaspoon and put it on your tongue and just let it dissolve. Now, I'm not a doctor, I don't know anything about, I know some things, I know some of the bones and stuff, but I don't know much about medicine or anatomy, anything like that. But that's what God told me to say, so I said it. And Lorraine she said, oh, my tongue was fine, and then about 6 weeks later or something like that, she said, you know, it came back, that taste, and I got some honey on a spoon and I put it on my tongue and it went. And that was it. Now, I've not got like herbal remedies. I'm not that guy that's grow your own drugs, you know that. Medicinal drugs, not recreational drugs. You know that show? Do you know that show? Oh, he's got a book out as well, I think. I've not seen it, but I know I'm not that guy. But Lorraine got healed because Andy and I prayed for her, but because God worked in there. God did the business. It wasn't to do with. All I did was obedient to God by saying what He told me to say. But I could only do that because He enabled me to do it. Which you can get into that, but that's a whole other sermon series. Philippians 4:13 says, "I can do all things through Him who strengthens me." That's an oldie. That's a Bible verse from Sunday school, isn't it? But I think sometimes we lose those verses, don't we? The ones that we learn as kids, if you did learn as kids Bible verses. I don't know, everyone went to Sunday school, but anyway, that's another topic as well. 2 Corinthians 12 verse 9 says, "My grace is sufficient for you because my power is made perfect in weakness." That's God talking to Paul, or Paul is saying that God said that to him. God's power is made perfect in weakness. I know that I can't, there's nothing in me that when I put my hand on someone and say, be healed or whatever, that does anything. There's nothing in me other than God. So when God, the Holy Spirit, comes through and He works through someone, that's how it happens. It's not, there's nothing physical that I can do. I can't sort of yank someone's leg so that it's longer and their back problems are longer and all those sorts of things. I mean, I can have a go if you want, but you have to sign a disclaimer first. How am I doing for time? I'm finished anyway, so I'll just, cool. I just want to sort of, by way of conclusion, I suppose. If you haven't believed in Jesus before or accepted Him as the one who saved you, then I'd say, maybe not this morning. I don't think it's the right time this morning necessarily. I mean, if you feel like, hey, I've caught a glimpse of something and I want to know more, come and speak to myself or to Simon or to Craig afterwards. We'll happily pray with you through some stuff. But I would strongly urge you, it's not the case that you would say, I know that Jesus is the Lord of my life, that He's saved me from the sins and the things that I've done. If that's not the case, I'd say, come back over the next few weeks. That's all that I would ask you to do, is come back over the next 3 weeks, okay, and just learn a bit more. Just have your horizons broadened slightly, just so that you can be fully aware and say, hey, I've seen what's been shown, and hey, it's not for me. And if that's the case, that's down to you and God. That's not down to me and God. That's up to you.